Is it not working? There we go. Restream's not showing that it's working, which is a little concerning. Let me refresh it. There we go. How do I pause it? I used to be able to pause this. It won't let me pause it now. Hmm. Very weird. Not only the restream would show it showing live, but I could pause it on my end so it didn't like take up, I guess, power from my laptop. But now I can't pause it. I don't like that. Well, hopefully that doesn't cause any issues with the stream. Well, what's up everyone? I'm Blazing Phoenix and welcome to my first official tier list. This will be the first time I make a tier list and post it online. This will also then count as my first ranking video for YouTube once I get this edited and posted on YouTube. And potentially the first video that will start off with my opening, the intro video that I made, which I hope people like it and don't mind the little extra 10 seconds at the start. I just wanted something that I've seen other YouTubers use for a while, which is like a short intro to try to make it feel like individual episodes of a series. Today I will be doing a tier list of the Final Fantasy's boss song Battle at the Big Bridge, which typically plays whenever you have to fight Gilgamesh from the Final Fantasy series. Gilgamesh is my favorite video game character, and Battle at the Big Bridge coincidentally is my favorite music in all of video games. I just think the song is excellent. I think the character Gilgamesh is just funny, and I like that he's a reoccurring super boss that is the same character across different Final Fantasy games, despite the fact that each Final Fantasy is like its own universe, or sometimes even like across time, and Gilgamesh is just able to appear in any of them at any point if a Final Fantasy creator wants him to. So I think that's pretty cool. Let me get to the tier list section itself. that's not it. There we go. So I looked on the Battle at the Big Bridge wiki, and I found potentially all of the versions of the Battle at the Big Bridge. So you got Final Fantasy 1, which I think was Gilgamesh added in the PSP version. You have the Final Fantasy 5 version, which actually has multiple versions. 7 Rebirth, which came out recently this year, with Gilgamesh as an added super boss, as he was not originally in Final Fantasy 7. Final Fantasy 12, Final Fantasy 13-2, Final Fantasy 13-3 Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 14, 15, Type 0, Dissidia, which I think it's its own arrangement, and then the same arrangement shows up in Dissidia Duodecim. So if they're the same version, then I'll just stick to the first version that had that song. Dissidia NT, which I think uses a version from Record Keeper, but I could be wrong. Again, if it turns out it is the same version, I'll pick whichever version came first. The Theater Rhythm series, World of Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy Explorers, Mobius, I think that's what that one is, Chocobo Tales, and Chocobo Dungeon. And since Final Fantasy V has different versions, being the Super Nintendo, Game Boy, I don't know if the PS1 has its own version, or if it's like the Game Boy, and then the Pixel Remastered. So I'm going to come down here. Let's do Tactics. Is that Tactics Advanced? Where's the normal Final Fantasy Tactics? Tactics Advanced 2. Yeah, I must be missing it. I don't see Tactics itself. Oh, there's Tactics. So I'm going to put Tactics here. And Final Fantasy Tactics Advance here. So since this tier list doesn't have Final Fantasy V, Final Fantasy V GBA, and Final Fantasy V Pixel Remastered, I'm going to pretend that Final Fantasy Tactics Advance is Final Fantasy V GBA version or PS1 version. If they're the same version but PS1 is better, then I would use that. And then Final Fantasy Tactics itself will be the Pixel Remaster version. I'm picking Tactics just due to the fact that it uses a job system, doesn't have Gilgamesh theme, and since 5 also has a job system, it felt like they're very close together. So it's going to look weird at the end seeing the Tactics games on it, but we'll just pretend there's a substitution for the versions of Final Fantasy V, as I would like to talk about the different versions. So without further ado, let's get started to listening to it, and I will be pausing a lot during each version, one, just so I could talk about my opinion of each version, but also I think there's like a rule on YouTube where you can't like listen to a long amount of a song without pausing and talk about it, or else it's just the same as just uploading someone's version of a song and letting people listen to it unfairly. I think so, basically like a copyright rule. So I hope you guys understand when I pause through these songs a lot. And we're going to start off with the original Final Fantasy V Super Nintendo version, the first ever Battle at the Big Bridge. And hopefully that sounds okay. Hopefully it's not too loud or too quiet compared to my voice. So we got the startup build-up. So pretty standard. It sounds Super Nintendo-like, but I like the build-up that gets to the main part that I think most people would recognize if they've heard this thing before. One more thing I'd like to talk about is how I have the tiers. I know some people would do like the top number 1 is super tier, S, A, B. Sometimes people do S minus, A plus. I think unless there's a special exception, no matter what tier list I make, I'm just going to leave it these 6 tiers. S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, F tier. I just think having a consistent amount of tiers is just going to be easier for any future tier list that I make. And no matter where I put the Gilgamesh battle theme on this tier list, say I put something in D tier, C tier, I don't know how I'm going to end this. I believe that even the worst of Battle of Big Bridge would be like at worst, a B plus tier across all video game music if I did a super video game music tier list. I think the worst Battle of Big Bridge is at the worst spot it can land is a B plus, even though I don't use B plus. And the best is obviously S plus tier, just because there's a couple versions that I would put as my favorite video game music of the Battle of Big Bridge. So we still have like a build up at the start of the song into the main part. And we have like this beginning part that loops twice, but this time it goes up. So I like that you have like this build up that plays, and then you have the main section that plays twice, but with the second time it like pushes upwards. I don't know music, so I don't know how any technical terms work to better describe this. But I've always liked the build up that plays, especially since when in Final Fantasy V you're running across a bridge to then lead up to the fight for Gilgamesh. I think this all works very well. YouTube's not playing. It's a pretty basic horror Battle Big Bridge theme. And then you got the descent. I like all the cymbals or whatever the clashing sound is. I think it just fits even better for, say, a boss fight like what's used in this game. Because that would be cool if you're like doing an attack and you hear tss just as you do a strike. Because then it just makes it feel more like you're being in the battle, and if not, it just makes it sound like something is going on in the background. And I believe that's where the loop starts right there, so then everything that we heard in this section is just going to loop to play back for the remainder. I've always liked this thing. The first time I heard it, I really liked it, and the first time I played 5 was on a Game Boy. And the Game Boy had the bestiary or bestiary, I don't know what the correct pronunciation of that is, but every enemy that you defeated, whenever you saved and quit and went to the main menu, there was a list of enemies, and it would always play the song that would be associated with the enemies. So standard enemies would have the normal battle, bosses would have the boss theme, but Gilgamesh had his theme, Battle at the Big Bridge, and I was one of those that would spend 5 to 10 minutes just going to Gilgamesh and just listen to his battle theme because I liked it so much back then. So Super Nintendo, I don't see it going lower than C. This is standard. And if there's a worse version of it, then I think it should go under. And I believe every other version besides maybe the Game Boy should go above. So I think that's what we'll listen to next. The Game Boy Advance version. GBA 5. Oh yeah, Final Fantasy V Advance. I don't know what this stuff is. I'm kind of scared to click that one. Here, let's do this. This says GBA version. Oh wow, only 144. Oh snap. The version that I grew up with. Alright, it doesn't sound completely different than the Super Nintendo version, but I can already tell it's like a slight downgrade in audio quality. But it still sounds good in my opinion. Ooh. There's a more noticeable sound to the trumpet. Here, let me go back to the Super Nintendo version. I guess I should have kept it up in case I wanted to compare. There's a trumpet that I'm hearing, or is a brass instrument, a brass noise that I'm hearing a little more noticeable than this version. So that's like normal. Yeah, this feels way more impactful in my opinion. But it sounds so Game Boy-like. I also played Chain of Memories on the Game Boy, and so I used to listen to, I would go on YouTube and listen to like, I don't remember what the title is, but the boss battle that plays for the org members, as well as Marluxia's battle themes, and I thought they sounded so good. Honestly, so far I don't find this any worse than the Super Nintendo version. Maybe slightly lower quality than the Super Nintendo version, but I could listen to either one and probably enjoy it just the same. So some might put it lower, but I'm actually going to put it on the equal tiers. I guess I should point this out. If I put a song on a tier, I am not going to organize it like, let's say if I find this better, I'm going to put this to the left. If I find this better, I think if there's just share the same tier, then I would call them equal quality, and then it's just based on opinion on what someone might like more. Especially with the few that I know I'm going to put up here. I've heard some people might like my version that I like the most best. I know some people will like another one the best, and I think whatever I put in S tier, if someone finds that as their favorite version, I would probably not disagree with them. I think that's a fair opinion to have whatever version appear as your favorite. So I'm going to put the Game Boy version on the same tier as the SNES version, which probably means nothing's going to wind up down here, but I don't think any of them deserve it. Alrighty. Trying to think of my memory bank of Final Fantasy knowledge. I want to say Final Fantasy 12 is the next version of the Battle at the Big Bridge that you hear in release order. Did it really take 7 games to get another Battle at the Big Bridge? Dang. I believe that's the case, so I'm going to look up Final Fantasy 12 version. And this is a longer version too. Once it loads. I don't think I need it super HD. Let's do 720. That might make it easier to load. This sounds more mystical at the start. So this doesn't sound as strong, like as loud as the original version. It feels more, like I said, mystical sounding, mysterious sounding, like there's a strong opponent possibly nearby, and I kind of like that so far. Could also be like your party is trying to feel out Gilgamesh, and he's trying to feel your party out of your guys' strength, and then the real battle begins. Ooh. I like that this does sound also more orchestra-like. Like it sounds like it might be real instruments versus the Super Nintendo, which is more computer-based for sounding. I like I could hear it in the other two versions, but this version it feels very focused on the horn and the percussion, the little tap. I kind of like that, and it sounds more clear in this version, probably due to the fact that it's not a cartridge. It's probably due to the help of the hardware limitations with the PS2, which I believe this version might be. Zodiac Age could be on a better version, but I think they share the same exact versions from the PS2 version. I heard some sort of xylophone sounding thing in the background. I don't know if it was actually a xylophone because I don't know my instruments, but in the background I could hear kind of like a back and forth xylophone like sound, and I think that's kind of interesting. Alright. Oh, good morning there, or morning for me. I don't know what time it is for you, but hello there. Is it Levi? Levy? I actually don't know what the pronunciation you would prefer, and I apologize if I said it wrong both times, but how's it going? I wonder if it's going to be the same thing over and over, or if it will actually grow in like impactfulness. Oh yeah, Final Fantasy XII would also be the first Final Fantasy game to have Gilgamesh talking. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the voice actor for Gilgamesh has been the same since then. I would have to look it up, but I think the voice from 12 all the way back from, I believe, 2006 is the same voice actor that we got this year for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Which, if that's the case, then that's awesome. I know some people hate the goofy tone of Gilgamesh and the goofy voice, but I really like it. And if it is the same voice actor, then that's awesome that he has stuck with this character all these years. Alrighty. It sounds like I listened to the same thing twice. So I'm gonna skip forward to see if anything changes. Ooh, Buster Sword. I think it's the same loop over and over at this point. I don't want to like quit out if there's like a version change in the middle, but I don't think Final Fantasy did version changes this early for songs. I think it sounds the same. So I like it. I like that it is higher quality for sure. It doesn't seem like it's big boss music. It feels. It feels. I get that now. It feels like a Final Fantasy 12 hunt, which is basically what goes on in that. So I'm not getting like big bad boss vibe. I'm not getting big strong boss vibe. It just feels like here's an opponent for you to fight. So I think it sounds good. I know a lot of people they have it as their version, but I think some of these other versions I've heard are much better. And so I think for now I'm gonna put it at B tier. So and I'm sorry if this is your favorite version and I'm putting it lower than what you would like. I think all versions are great, and if any version of Gilgamesh theme is your favorite, then that's awesome. It's just for me, this feels B tier compared to what I know other versions sound like. So what I want to do is see what Final Fantasy 1's version sounds like, because I actually don't. I've listened to it once or twice before, but I can't remember what it sounds like, and I'm wondering if it will be any better or worse than some of these later versions. If it will load. Ooh. Ooh. I like the guitar already in it. Ooh. I actually already like this version more than the other three that we've listened to so far. I really like this electric guitar sounding, and I don't know how to describe this sound. It makes me think of like a kind of an organ sound, and I think that's sounding really cool. Ooh. Alrighty, we don't have the trumpet right now. Maybe they'll include the trumpet later. But I'm really liking the electric guitar. See, this is what I'm talking about. With the original version and now this version, this feels more like it's a fast-paced boss theme, and then when you got like the electric guitar and organ, I guess it's an organ sound. I'm liking this more than the wind chimey xylophone like of the last version. I'm liking this version a lot, actually. Boom. And this is a potential loop. Yeah, I'm gonna guess that that's a loop right there. So no trumpet or a brass instrument used this time around for the main blah da 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 da. So I kind of like the trumpet. I guess I got used to that sound being the main. That felt like a slight downgrade, but the electric guitar and the tempo and everything sounded much better in my opinion. So maybe A. I might have to shift all this stuff down because I know there's versions far better. So I hate putting these in D. I feel like no Gilgamesh theme should be in D, but for this list, let's put it here. Because I know I have some S tier quality stuff coming up. I know I have A tier quality. I don't think this should share the Final Fantasy 12 version, but it also shouldn't share A and S. So I hate that I gotta shift these down, but I think this is the best way to get it all to fit. I want to save the Pixel Remaster version later, just because I know how good I like it. So let's jump to what might be a simple, good version. Let's do Chocobo Tales. I actually don't remember what Chocobo Tales version sounds like. Chocobo Tales. I know what Dungeon sounds like, but not Tales. Ooh. The drum kick, what it sounds like to me. Like the foot pedal sound. And Chocobo Tales, I actually have played this game before, and as far as I'm aware, there's only the DS version. And it already sounds handheld quality. Like, I don't know how better to describe what I feel like I'm hearing other than it sounds like a handheld quality. Hopefully other people who grew up with the DS and Game Boy understands what I'm talking about. Okay. Ooh. While it does bring back the brass noise, this feels more to me. I'm getting stuck listening to the drums more, which isn't a bad thing. I like drums, percussion sounds. I really like what they're doing with the drums. I feel like the overall quality is a little hindered by maybe the hardware limitation of the DS. But I'm really liking the drums in this version a lot. Okay. Ooh. The drums are really solid in this. Alright, I think I've heard enough to give an opinion. So, I think 12, I don't know. To me, Chocobo Tales sounds almost similar quality as the original in the Game Boy. The only thing it has better is the drums. I think it has very same quality as the other two, but the drums is better, but I wouldn't say that alone would put it on the same level as Final Fantasy 12, unfortunately. If I could put the drums in a different version of this, I think that would be awesome, but unfortunately I can't do that. I'm going to put it in D tier though, because I think it's on the same level of quality as the Super Nintendo and Game Boy. Let's see. We're going to get some much better qualities in these later versions. Let's do Chocobo Dungeon. I think Chocobo Dungeon is fair to do right after Chocobo Tales. which I think is like the Raffalo battle is what it's technically called in this version. Yeah, Raffalo battle. Hopefully I pronounced that right. I haven't played Chocobo Dungeons in a long time. Alrighty. Very focused on that piano. Ooh. Alright. So this feels a little more laid back in like a calm, I would say like a calmer tone than what I find Battle Big Bridge normally starts. But I like that it's very clear to hear the piano. And then when you have the percussion, I guess like the cymbals or whatever clashing, it makes it a little more impactful at the start. So far I'm liking this. This is kind of on the same quality as Final Fantasy 12 so far for me. Ooh, okay. I like that pause. I forgot that there was a pause there. It like brought everything to a halt, like what's gonna happen, and then the big impact right after. I like that a lot. I forgot how good this version of Battle at Big Bridge is. Ooh. Interesting. I don't know if Final Fantasy 12 had this. I may need to go back. I think this is like the first time we're hearing this extended descend after, like right before it loops back. So let me see if I can get a good example. Da 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 da. Already right here. 1, 2, 3. So, and let me see if I can get a good example of the Final Fantasy 12 version. Since that so far seems to be our... Oh no, 1 is our highest, but I think 12... This to me feels very similar to the 12 version, so that's what makes me want to compare it to that. So let's see if I can get to that spot. My laptop is having crappy internet where I am. So that's gonna be later. Alright, I think it should be like right around here. Yeah, okay. So I think that's a good example. So it's like building, it's getting higher and more going on with the song here. Da 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 da. La da 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 da. Da 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 da. Listen how many times it like descends down. So it descends down in like one section and then it goes back to da 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 da. Whereas this version descend 1, da 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 da. So it like has this far extended version before it goes back to the da 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 da. I kind of think that sounds much better. Let's listen to the rest of it. And then that should be where it loops back. Man. Oh. That's kind of hard to put on the tier list. Where's Chocobo Dungeons? I hope that was not loud for y'all like it was for me. So, man, that's a tough choice. It feels very similar to Final Fantasy XII for me. I actually think it sounds a little better. But I don't know if it's much more to put it up to what I liked about the Final Fantasy I version. These two sound very similar in impactfulness for me, except for I think the pause in this was good, and I like the extended ending before it loops back to the main la da 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 da. So I would want. It feels like it goes in between Final Fantasy 1 and 12, but overall I would put it at the same quality as Final Fantasy 12. I really like that version though. What do I think? Let's do Dissidia. I think Dissidia is a good next pick. Dissidia. Oop, I missed a 9. Dissidia. I might need to do like PSP. This might be it. This looks good. Square Enix music channel. Get them a view for their own music. So you have another guitar, electric guitar, and I don't know if it's like just a how to describe. It's not necessarily an organ. It feels, to me, the best I can describe is like an electric piano. I kind of wish I knew more about music and instruments so I can not sound like an idiot describing this, but that's what it sounds like to me. It's kind of like an electric piano sound with a calmer electric guitar than the Final Fantasy I version. It might be like an electric organ. Oh. Ooh. There's like in the background. Yeah, it's like an electric organ that's doing something I don't think I've heard in any other version so far. While you have the main stuff still going on. Dun. I like that a lot. This to me feels it's messing up. This to me feels like if Final Fantasy V was made for, let's say, a PS2 back then, this feels like just a higher quality version of the original version. There wasn't any extra stuff added, like no extra, I don't know what you call it, like extra notes other than that electric organ that I'm hearing lingering in the background. Or any changes to how any of the normal notes go. And I figure this will just have like that one descent section, yeah. Ooh, arc the foot pedal. And then it loops. So there wasn't anything noteworthy in my opinion. It just is a better version of the original Super Nintendo. So I'm going to put it on the same level as Final Fantasy XII and Raphael theme. Or Raphael, I'm sorry. Nothing special, definitely a higher quality of the original, but I still don't find it as good as the Final Fantasy I version. And I don't think Duodecim has any different version, but we can check. This area, Duodecim. No. Yeah, I only put this Duodecim on this just because Wiki showed it had a version of Gilgamesh theme, so Duodecim we can put down here. Alrighty. So let's do. I don't know if Theta Rhythm has its own version. We can check. Theta Rhythm. And it's gotta be like the first Theta Rhythm, not Final Bar Line. Is Theta Rhythm only on the 3DS or was it on the DS as well? I don't remember. Oh, this looks like it might be the first Theta Rhythm. I'm guessing it's going to be the Cydia version. Or it might actually be the Final Fantasy V Super Nintendo version, now that I think of. Oh, no, this is different. Oh, it's more on the drums. Oh my. This is getting like the impact level of the Final Fantasy I version, in my opinion. I actually might like it more than the Final Fantasy I version. Oh. Oh man, I like this version a lot. I don't remember playing this on my DS. No description. Oh. Now the question is, are they going to extend the ending of it, or is it just going to be the simple descending to back to the loop? Alright, so it's simple. Man, I like that version a lot, actually. I'm kind of tempted to put it in the A tier, but I think it's it's a better version of the Final Fantasy 1, but to me they still have almost the same quality level. Kind of like how I think Chocobo Dungeons is better than 12, but overall they feel similar to me. I kind of feel this way with it, mostly because like the electric guitar, or these two share. So I'm going to put it in B for now. Maybe I'll rise these two up if there's something that feels it needs to go more in the middle. I don't know if I've actually listened to the Explorers version, so let me do Explorers. FAF Explorers version. I'm guessing this is Explorers. 6 months ago might be higher quality than this. But this has the views. I'm gonna go with this version. it's a DS title, so let's see what they did with this one. There was definitely something different about this beginning version than the others. Nothing too noteworthy, but I am noticing a slight difference in the background of this. Also, I believe this is like the Final Fantasy VIII custom of Gilgamesh, so I like that they went with that for Explorers. I think I technically own Explorers, but I don't think I played it longer than 2 hours. If it's the game that I think it is. I don't know if there was anything necessarily bad about it. If it's what I think it is, it's just nothing caught my attention at the start, and at the same time I got Kirby Triple Deluxe on the same day, and Triple Deluxe was just far more fun to play, and I just never went back to Explorers. Yeah, I think I'm hearing like bells or some sort of chiming noise in the background that I normally don't hear in the song. Almost like a school bell. Okay. It sounds like they're trying to have a choir in the background. A choir sound. It just sounds slightly distorted, if that makes sense. Alright, I think I got enough from that. Honestly, I didn't hear anything too impressive in this version. Nothing really stood out. It didn't even sound much higher of a quality than the Super Nintendo or Game Boy version. Maybe the same level of quality. I don't know. Nothing really stood out to me, so I'm gonna put it in D tier with these three. Let's try Mobius. I don't know if I've actually listened to that version either. Mobius. Final Fantasy. Is it the same as Record Keeper? These are two different games, right? If it's the same as Record Keeper, I believe Record Keeper is also the same version that Dissidia NT uses. And I don't want to get to that version yet. Let's do Type 0. Final Fantasy Type 0. Only a minute 27, so sounds like it won't have like any extensions on any parts. Is this the same as the Dissidia version? That's the same as Dissidia, right? Dissidia. By the way, if you haven't played Dissidia, fantastic. Not NT. Never touch NT. But other Dissidia games are fantastic. Yeah, it's the same version. Interesting. Type 0 was originally put on the PSP, right? So maybe that's why. Dissidia was also PSP. So maybe, yeah. What came first? FF Type 0 release date 2011. Oh, Dissidia beat it then. I'm pretty positive Dissidia is a 09. I I forgot the I again. Oh, 8. Oh, dang, I was wrong. I probably didn't get. Wait. North America. Aha! North America is 09. That's where I was getting my confusion. Nice. So type 0 is the same as Dissidia, so type 0, you go back down here. Let's do Curtain Call. I don't know if Curtain Call has a different version. See, rhythm, Curtain Call. If I do all critical, is it gonna have the swiping noise? Battle the big bridge. Battle big bridge. Let's listen to this version. Oh no, the sound effects. I don't know if you could turn the sound effects off in this version, honestly. Is this just the Super Nintendo version? I think this is the original version. Curtain Call might not have its own version then. And then there's the version I listened to already. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments. Maybe I can redo this video. But as far as I can tell, Curtain Call does not have its own unique version. But I think Final Bar Line has its own unique version. The World of Final Fantasy. Let's get to that version. I actually liked World of Final Fantasy. I know it had mixed reviews, but I thought it was a fun game. Very Pokemon-esque like, but very also like, if you're a Final Fantasy fan, you might enjoy it. All the little references, and if not, it's still its own standalone fun game. A weird game, but fun. Oh man, I forgot how good this version is. Ooh. The beat that goes along with this. And that guitar. I'm already gonna say it. World of Final Fantasy version. I knew I was gonna put it here, so I'm just gonna put it there real quick. Put it in A tier. Man, this version sounds just too good to me. Ooh. That sounded like the little hand cymbals. Well, I don't know instruments, but there's like the big cymbals that make the loud clashing noise, but this one sounded like that little clanking one that you have. I kind of like that. Now, if someone were to say this is equally as good as these, I would understand. If they said that this version is equally to these, I would understand. But just for me, this version just feels like a far cleaner version than this, and even the Final Fantasy 1 version, and just sounds a little more impactful to me. So this was one of the few that I knew what tier I wanted to put this under. The A tier, but I would understand if someone doesn't like it as much as some of these other versions. But for me, I put it in A tier. I like it a lot. Let's do Final Fantasy 15. I haven't heard that in a while. FF15. It's like the one-arm Gilgamesh fight. Proof that I've listened to it before. I know this is some people's favorite version as well. Well, I don't remember the choir in this. I've only listened to this version like twice. And I'm a sucker for choir. Or chorus? Maybe chorus. I don't know. When you have people chanting, I like that in songs. Alrighty, like I said with Final Fantasy 12, this one doesn't start off as impactful. It definitely feels like it's setting up for you're fighting one strong opponent. I don't know if that technically makes sense for music, if it can give that feeling, but to me, it's like, that's the feeling that I'm getting from this right now. Since this is a more modern Final Fantasy, I wonder if this will have version changes throughout the song, so it's not like the same loop every 90 seconds. I like the string. Very subtle. Playing the normal la da 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 da. And it sounds more like a war drum feeling with the drums versus just a supporting tempo instrument. This one feels as impactful as the strings, if not more, like, hey, you're in a fight, versus the strings, which is the more music side of things. So I like that. It feels more like they're complementing and not just supporting. Like coexisting. Oh, and me being a sucker for the singing. I'm hoping there's a version change though, because if this is all it is, it's good, but I want a bit more with this. Ooh, this is new for this. Man, the singing sounds really good. I like this actually. It feels, I'm hoping there's something new after they're singing, because then it feels, I guess that would be like a bridge or connecting. Like you have the start, which helps you build up. You have the singing, which feels like, let's let the battle play out a little longer before we get to the next step. So I'm hoping there's a next step to like fill, I don't know how to describe it, like a story. It feels almost like a story going on with the song. I don't know how to put it to words exactly. Oh, I hope that's not the loop right there. Ooh. I just thought of something while listening to it. This feels like I'm watching Bloodborne. The way you have to dodge the attack, and it's like this one-on-one fight with the boss, and you got this big old weapon. I'm getting Bloodborne vibes from this fight right here. And the music kind of matches with it. This is a Final Fantasy Bloodborne, just without the gross goriness of it. This is very unique though. So far I think this is the most unique version of Battle at Big Bridge I've listened to when making this tier list. This also feels more personal This feels very. I think that's what it's trying to go for. Since you're Gladios fighting Gilgamesh 101, it feels very. If I'm getting that vibe from this version. You're not fighting like a super big boss. You're just fighting another strong warrior in a one-on-one duel. Is there anything different at this point, or is this where that loop starts? Oh, 309. Okay. I was right. That's where the loop starts. Alrighty. I like that version a lot. It's not as in-your-face impactful like I like in most other Battle at Big Bridge, but I think it fits its mood very well. I like the chorus of it, and it does feel like if you had to go against this wiser Gilgamesh from the Final Fantasy series, I think it fits the tone pretty well. I like that. I like that a lot. I think I'm going to put it in A. Let's do 14. Final Fantasy 14. All I gotta do is put an I in the middle of this. Man, 14 has some crazy music. I didn't listen to it for the first time until last year, and I found some versions of Final Fantasy songs that had became my favorite versions of those songs. Simplified, Gilgamesh theme. Dang. I don't know if this will be as impactful as those other versions I listened to, because those were more. Ooh. Wait. It's sounding very close to a version we already listened to, but let it continue more first. I need to look at something real quick. Make sure that they're not the same versions. Okay, no. Huh. Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that. I never played 14, but I know what this green chicken is. That's a Kindu. I think, what is it, the story that he lost a Kindu, and so he got this chicken painted it green to be his friend. I could be completely wrong about that. I think that's the story though. Oh, I was not expecting it to change. I was expecting it to start looping. Okay. Oh, more focus on a string and piano combo, which I'm a sucker for. Dang, I was about to critique this too. I was about to say this doesn't sound any more unique, like, compared to these versions, but then they threw in that string and piano, and now it's got me thinking. Alrighty. Now I think it's about to loop. I like that. It was something different in the middle. However, and I really hope that this doesn't make anyone upset. To me, it was kind of on the same overall quality level as these guys. That's not like the order matters, but to me, I'm going to put it at C tier. I didn't find it nearly as impactful as these versions. The only thing that caught my attention was that middle part of the piano and string. But I like the electric guitarness of these better, and I like the unique styles that I got from these better as well. I have no idea what Lightning Returns version sounds like. I want to hate it just because I don't like the 13 series, but let's see. 1330. I think it's supposed to be some sort of shop theme, isn't it? I've actually never heard this version before because I stay away from 13.3 as much as possible. What in the kazoo is going on? Oh my goodness. I'm just picturing Gilgamesh trying to make money on the streets, and he is playing this dumb kazoo because he has nothing else to do. Or like you're trying to learn the song for a band and you have that little brother or sister that just wants to be included, and so they're trying to play the kazoo while everyone's playing the music. Oh my gosh. Comedic effect wise, that was funny. I was not expecting it at all. As a meme, I could see people saying, oh, it should be S tier. But critically, F. There's no reason that should be any higher than these versions. I think this is the worst version of the Battle of Big Bridge I've ever heard. It's funny. It's definitely funny, but it's stupid at the same time. Alrighty. So, we're getting down to the high quality. Oh, I didn't even get to the pixel remastered yet. 5 pixel remaster. Then this version. That long electric guitar chord sound, I like that a lot for the introduction of the song. Now, it's pretty standard. It sounds like a much better quality of the original, right? Oh, look at that, the sprite of Gilgamesh, dude. I don't think we've seen that yet in these videos. Oh man, I like it a lot. But the trumpet that's in this version. The little organ. I've actually listened to this version a lot. When Pixel Remaster came out, just for nostalgic feelings, I went right to the, instead of a bestiary, you have a music box, just put it on and listen to it for 20 minutes. It made me feel like I was listening from the Game Boy again, but this version is much better than the Game Boy quality, that's for dang sure. I like the little organ that's playing, but we haven't even got to the good brass noise yet. I think it's a brass instrument. I'm gonna feel dumb if this whole time, like, if a trumpet or a trumpet, maybe tuba. Trumpet is that. What's the horn where you pull back and forth on the bar? I don't know my instruments, dude. I need someone just to teach me music, because I really like music. I like video game music. I just don't know like music theory, music instruments, or things like that, music terms. But we haven't even got to like the part that I like a lot about this version yet. Ooh, here it goes. It's so good. It like lets the guitar have its moments. It's letting the trumpet have its own moments. That trumpet reminds me a lot of the King K. Rool Smash Reveal trailer version of his song, but I like it a lot, and I think it loops back around here. Honestly, it's like the closest to the original Final Fantasy V, Final Fantasy GBA, what other version? Final Fantasy 1, which is like the electric guitar. But in my opinion, Pixel Remastered is like, if you want a version of Battle Big Bridge that is the closest to the Super Nintendo, but the highest quality, I would say Pixel Remastered version is that. Like some of these other ones start doing their own style, mostly to fit the game that they're in or the theme of the battle. But I think Pixel Remastered is the closest to Super Nintendo while having the best quality of it. I think Final Fantasy 1 was trying that, and I actually think it's not far from the original, better sounding, but Pixel Remastered just takes the cake for me. I really like it a lot. Um, let's do Final Bar Line. I want to say it has its own version. Actually, I have to use the restroom real quick, so I will be right back. I apologize. I'll be right back. Let me mute the mic so you don't hear all the background noises. Alrighty, I'm back. Sorry, I had to use the restroom real quick, wash my hands, and then make sure my wife and kids were good. Alrighty, where were we? Let's do... Oh yeah, we were looking for curtain call, right? We're about to look for curtain call. I'm sorry, final bar line, not curtain call. So I want to say this is a version we've heard before. Once it loads. Yeah, that's the normal battle big bird. All-Star Carnival. Wait. Tactics. AC arrangement. Is it just an All-Star Carnival? Is that what that is? Tactics AC. All-Star Carnival. Let's see what this is then. And let's see if it's going to be the same as that version. Okay. Does this version have it without the noises from the notes? All-Star Carnival. Wait, is that what this one said? I did not pay attention. All-Star Carnival, yeah. Dang, it also has I would like... Let me see. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe Final Bar doesn't have its own version. Maybe it is just All-Star Carnival. All-Star Carnival. I might have to endear with the hold on. Sorry about that. Someone needed me real quick, but I'm back. I may have to endear with the notes being hit in this version of the song. So let's try these two, see if either one can avoid that. No, that has it. That's gonna hinder my experience a little if I have to listen to Why? Alrighty. No one just has the music version. Alrighty. Oh, I can't find any. I didn't mean to delete that search page, but okay. Let's see if I can hear this song while we have the theater rhythm notes hitting. Oh wow. It's like a faster paced battle, Big Bridge. By the way, I know this is probably like the demo thing showing all these notes, but to all you people who can actually hit all these notes while playing this game, I don't know how. I just don't. It's like the people who play all those hard songs on Guitar Hero at like 500 times speed or 5 times speed. I just don't understand. It's crazy that y'all can do this stuff. So far, this just feels like a sped up version of the normal theme, which sounds cool, especially with the notes going off at the same time as it, but otherwise there's like nothing unique so far that's standing out to me. Yeah, so unless something new comes up, I don't think I'm going to place this one high on the tier list. I could just go to another Battle at Big Bridge and put on like 50% faster speed and have the same effect, I think, but with their uniqueness, it would probably work better. Like, I guarantee World of Final Fantasy version, if you sped it up a little, it'd probably sound a bit better for some people. Oh, that's something new. Oh, as I was saying, unless it had something new to catch my attention. Oh. I got slight Tekken vibe from that for a second. And the ending was cool too. 1,200 notes is ridiculous. Okay, so this is technically All-Star Carnival and not Final Burn. But I have, unless I'm missing it, I don't think they have All-Star Carnival down here. So just like we're pretending the two tactics are a different version of Final Fantasy V, we're going to say this is pretending to be All-Star Carnival. Now where I would put it, that's a hard. I like the second half of it. The second half of it started becoming cool in its own thing. maybe B tier. The first half of it I was gonna put it here or maybe even here, but the second half was unique enough. Maybe B tier. I mean, the second half sounded really cool and I liked it a lot, especially the ending section. But do I actually think it's better than these three hymns? For me, the whole song is good for these versions, so I might put it at C tier. I actually might put Raphael version. I don't know. I'll wait till the end to decide that. Alright, so what do we have next? We have. I want to say these three are maybe technically the same version of the same song. Let's do Mobius. Battle at the Big Bridge, Mobius. Oh, kind of see. Because I know what NT and Record Keeper sounds like. I'm pretty sure they're the same. So it looks like this one might be as well. I don't know if Mobius and... I didn't know you had to fight the kid at some point. Man. What came first? FF Record Keeper release date 2014. Mobius 2015, and NT came after that. So I think for now, unless I'm missing something, NT Mobius can be taken off. And we got these three versions. Now let's go back to listening to this version, because this version's awesome. I'm going to even rewind it. I really like the choir in the background. And to me, what I was saying about how the Pixel remastered version is like a updated version of the original in Final Fantasy 1. To me, this is giving me an even more updated orchestral vibe to that, but it does have an added section to it to like make it its own identity as well, which I really like. The quality sounds a little off to me though. Let me just do Record Keeper. And skip ahead closer to it. Makes it look more official with this image here instead of that video. Fun fact, this is actually my second favorite version of Battle at Big Bridge. So I think it's safe to say we know that I'm going to have it up here. I like the choir singing a lot in this, and I like the inclusion that they have in this version. Normally at this point, it goes back to the la da 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 da. But this version actually, if I remember correctly, uses another character's theme from Final Fantasy V. I want to say it's Lena's theme from Final Fantasy V. Which to me, it like blends in so well. And it just feels like an extension to the battle, like something changed with the protagonist to get an advantage in the fight, or I really like the addition a lot. And then this is where it loops back to the start with a slight extended ending. I like this a lot. It's like a 2-minute loop, but I like this version a lot. We got the choir, you got the Linus theme, or whatever the inclusion is. The slight inclusion at the very end. Very, very solid stuff. And it's my second favorite version of Battle at Big Bridge theme. Let's do FF7 Rebirth. I think this is just the music. Now this 7 Remake and 7 Rebirth have something that I wish more games would do, and I'm hoping Final Fantasy as a whole just continues this trend. As the fight progresses, not only does the boss mechanic change to make it either more difficult or something different about how you have to fight it, but the music like evolves as the battle goes on, and I really like that about 7 Remake and 7 Rebirth. And I knew when I saw Gilgamesh get announced for this game, they were going to do the same for it, and I was very curious to hear how they would do it Battle at Big Bridge, and they knock it out of the park with this version. In case people didn't catch it, not only do you have the normal build-up from the Battle at Big Bridge, the I don't even know how to copy it with the piano, but it's like while that is going on, I like that this version does. Oh, man, I need to be a bigger Final Fantasy VII fan. Is it Let the Battle Begin? Actually, I can YouTube it, and you can hear what I'm talking about for those who haven't played 7 before. I think it's called Let the Battle Begin. FF7. Let the battle begin. I want the normal one. Not those who fight. Yeah. Dun 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 dun. This little snippet is actually snuck into the beginning of the song, so let me rewind it real quick and then try to listen for it. It fits so well. The first time I listened to this version, I didn't even catch that. From playing 7 Remake a lot, it was just normal to hear it. And then, unfortunately, I don't have a PS5 to play Rebirth, so I had to watch an amazing YouTuber and Twitch streamer, Maximilian Dude, play this game. And so I was used to hearing different versions of Let the Battle Begin that I just didn't even catch that they snuck it in at the beginning of this version. But I like the combination a lot. It just works so well. And whoever thought about like, oh, this would fit well in this beginning, they were right. I'm glad that they did that. And of course you have a heavy electric guitar, which the remake series was using a lot. Which I'm not complaining, I like the electric guitar. This is the Final Fantasy 1 version, but far more fleshed out. Ooh. Very good stuff. So phase 1 is like a Final Fantasy 7 remake electric guitar version of Battle at Big Bridge. It keeps it the same structure throughout the majority of phase 1, and I like that a lot. And if you listen, it kind of has the extended ending that Chocobo Dungeon had with the Raffalo theme, and I like that a lot as well. I liked it a lot in Raffalo theme, and I kind of wanted more versions to have that, so I'm glad Rebirth included that. So that's kind of a loop right there. So phase 2 should be starting, I think, soon, right? Unless they have something new here that I don't remember. No, I think it's pretty much the same up to phase 2. Yeah. Ooh. I like how they have little sections that play between phases to try to like bridge them together. It's always done so well, especially when you're in the fight, and it's less noticeable because you're focused on the fight. But they made sure that every music, that if you ever stop and listen to it, pretty much every song in Remake and Rebirth is fantastic. Some the best soundtrack, original soundtrack I think I've ever heard in any video game. It's amazing. Ooh. Oh, it's only 2 phases? I'm so used to the later fights in Rebirth having like 3 or 4 phases, but this is fine. I like the increase in basically like activity going on in the song. Everything's like higher pace tempo slightly. You got more going on. I just really like it. Oh, there's a little snippet of Final Fantasy VII in there. I don't think I've caught that before. I think it was also Let the Battle Begin, a later section of it bleeding in. The electric guitar is fantastic in this version. Like, whoever played it for this version, they did a fantastic job. Also, I really like this design. I'm a sucker for the Final Fantasy VIII version since that was the first Gilgamesh I ever saw, but I like how he has like these mechanical arms. He has thrusters to potentially like let him swing faster. You have this cool looking Naginata, or what looks like a Naginata blade. I really like this Gilgamesh design, and I like the whole atmosphere scenario. You have the big samurai duel, ninja duel, moon in the top right, this Asian style area for him to fight in. Rebirth did a fantastic job with a lot of stuff, and I think they did excellent with Gilgamesh altogether. I saw some people hating that Gilgamesh was added in Rebirth since he's not in the original Final Fantasy VII, but Rebirth feels like a means to allow people to re-experience 7 while also allowing Final Fantasy fans to re-experience little motifs of the series as a whole that they grew up enjoying. And as someone like me who's played a ton of Final Fantasy, I think Rebirth did great with a lot of details, including everything that they did for Gilgamesh. So Rebirth is definitely a solid game, and this version of his theme is also solid. And I think it loops back to where we started the final phase. So let me go towards the ending, as it has its own victory for the crew bit. Very, very solid. That also goes up into A tier. I almost want to put it higher than Record Keeper for my own personal take, but the choir and Linna's theme in it just like it makes me go sucker for. But Rebirth definitely belongs into S tier. And finally, 13-2, Battle at Big Bridge. This is by far my favorite version of the song. If someone were to say that this is their favorite version, or even say 12 or 15, I would completely understand why. But for me, this is the version that I enjoyed the most out of any other Battle at Big Bridge. Which then would be no surprise that that would belong in the S tier for me. But just even the start, the da-da-dum, this gives off hard, like, samurai or ninja vibes. I don't know what the clear difference is between those and their music, so I'm sorry if I offend any samurai and ninja fans. I really don't mean to. It's just, to me, from the little bit that I've watched of anything that includes them, they sound similar to me, but I know they have to have some differences. I'm gonna say maybe samurai dual vibes with this for the start. A little calm build up, which is actually what I use for my intro. This little section is what I use for my intro video. Let me get a higher quality. Oh, it's already 720, never mind. All I can imagine is like cherry blossom just flowing in the camera, and then you get like the start of everything going on right here. I don't know what kind of string instrument is used for here, but I really like it. It fits the tone that I was describing of like a samurai feel. And then the little flute to go with it instead of a trumpet, I think it's a nice change. And this is all a huge build up. I think this is like the longest build up for a Battle at Big Bridge theme. And I like that it does that section twice. Most of the versions we listen to, it's just da 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 da, and it just cuts into the next part. This one does it twice, which like even more increases the build up, and I like it. If there's any other song, video game song that uses this string and flute combo, I highly people recommend it to me because I would like to listen to more music that sounds like this. The closest that I can think of is, I believe it's like a Tekken 5 song. Actually, I think I could look that up real quick. I know this is a Battle at Big Bridge video, but Tekken 5, Kanam. Daggum, did I get close with the name? I could not remember it at all. Not Tekken 3, Tekken 5. No. What? Tekken 5 OST. Soundtrack. No, I don't want it playing right now. I have an idea of what it's called, I just can't remember what the heck it's actually called. View playlist. Ka and No Mai. That's the similar vibe that I'm getting from this, although I find this version better. But that style of music I would be into listening to more of. But you have like the samurai sounding instruments while still doing the main parts of the Battle at Big Bridge. I think it's a great combination for this. And it sucks that it's in this futuristic setting, because I think if you had the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth setting with like cherry blossom trees with the leaves flying everywhere or something, it would fit the music much better and makes it better. But instead you have this futuristic theme that 13.2 tried to bring in, and it just sucks that this is the environment you have to fight in. Great Gilgamesh, great dialogue that he has in this fight, great music. It just sucks. I don't like the atmosphere itself. But I'm also not a fan of the 13 series, so maybe I'm just anti-biased against it. This also has like the extended ending that I liked about Raphael theme and Rebirth theme. But then you have this extra section with this also string instrument. And I think this is where it like loops back earlier. So instead of like a 90-second loop like most of the Battle of Big Bridges we listen to, this is a whole 2.5 minute long one. And I think Record Keeper also had about a 2.5 minute long loop, but that's also because they had a Lena theme in the section of it. So this is like its own unique style right there that I really like. I just really like the more samurai vibes version of this, as well as this whole build-up section. To me, it something about it I like much more than every other version of it, despite the fact that I think these two versions could be great contenders for best, and ads are getting in the way. So this is what I would consider the top 3 Battle at Big Bridge theme. You got the Record Keeper, Rebirth, and 13.2. A tier, World of Final Fantasy, even though I know many would probably put it lower, just something about this version I like. Final Fantasy 15 and Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster, not Tactics. B tier is normal Theater Rhythm and Final Fantasy 1, although I could understand if people put these lower than some of these. C tier, Chocobo Dungeon, Raphael theme, 14, 12, All-Star Carnival, not Final Bar Line, Normal Dissidia, D tier, Chocobo Tales, Explorers, SNES, Final Fantasy V, GBA, Final Fantasy V, not Tactics Advance, And F tier would be Lightning's Return, even though it's funny. This version's funny, but F tier. I could see a lot of arguments of people in this middle section, and I would be curious to know what everyone's opinions is in the comments, whether they do put 12 as their favorite, 15 as their, or not 15, this is 15, 15 as their favorite, 14 as their favorite. I could see people making arguments for some of these being lower, but in my opinion, I think, if anything else, I think these are the absolute 3 best versions of Battle at Big Bridge, with Pixel Remaster also being like a great version, as it's very close to the original, just much higher quality, better sounding. So this is my tier list for Battle at Big Bridge. What do we got? We got 8, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18 versions of this song. And there's even more versions of the song as well. I was just trying to stick to, in Final Fantasy games, I think Nomura has his own band, the Black Mages, that has their own version, which is really good. I know other people have done covers of it as well, and they have some good versions of it too. Overall, Battle at Big Bridge is great. Maybe not recommend the F tier one or the GBA one, but I think almost any other version could sound good to first time listeners. Pixel Remastered, I think, would be the one that I would recommend most for a first time listener, just to have a base idea of what Battle at Big Bridge sounds like. But overall, fantastic battle theme. Thank you, Final Fantasy, for remaking it over and over so I have new ways to listen to it. And thank you for everyone who's watched. I hope